Don't know what the stroke is yet.
Schools are trying to come up with a plan for what fall could look like for students. And Mike Polk is back to make us all laugh. He's sharing some good news with all of us. What's new starts right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Yes, it is, and we are one day from another Friday. As you can tell, I couldn't be happier about that. Hello again, everyone, and thank you so much for choosing What's New with Betsy Kling, who is back at our WKYC Studios. I'm Jay Crawford here again from Studio J. I hope you're having a terrific Thursday. Betsy, before we get into some of the big news of the day, in Ohio, what is going on with these storms? They're getting pretty serious, it looks like.
Well, they're still to the west of us. I've got a lot of technology in front of me. I got radar here, I got my phone that's got stuff on it, I got chat rooms open, so I am covering everything all at once. And I'll tell you what, we were just keeping an eye on this line of storms that's coming at us from the west. You can see that things are holding together very well as this approaches Erie and Huron counties. Now, that being said, around Milan, just to the north of Norwalk, we're already getting some thunder and lightning going on. This is going to continue into western portions of Lorain County. That's where the strong storm is right now. So Sandusky down through Milan, Huron, Vermilion, over toward New London, Fitchville, back through Willard, and of course I mentioned Norwalk. You have this line of potent storms coming in. The orange box there just to the west of you out toward Tiffin and down to Bucyrus, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. There are some wind gusts that have been associated with this, especially one just due west of New London by maybe 45 miles or so out in Arcadia. They had a tree knocked down. So we're keeping a close eye on it, Jay.
All right, very good. I'm sure we'll talk about it later in the show. All right, now on to your feet at 5. A big day for the reopening of Ohio as a long list of businesses get the green light from Governor Mike DeWine. We want to know what you think about this timetable for the speed of the state's reopening. You can go to WKYC.com/vote now. And there are a couple of choices for you to pick amongst there. While you vote, our Laura Queso is here to break down what happens next. Laura, very good afternoon to you. The governor spent a lot of time today talking about daycares.
Oh, yeah, it was opening after opening, right, Jay? But yes, let's talk about daycares. All you parents want to know, your child's daycare provider can now reopen May 31st. That's news from the governor today. But that daycare is going to look a lot different than it did before COVID-19. Why? Well, there are guidelines. Class sizes will be reduced, and children will get daily temperature checks. Hand washing will be encouraged for children and staff members constantly, and there will be extra cleaning. Your children may be greeted by staff members wearing masks, and parents, you may be encouraged to wear a face covering when dropping and picking up your child.
We will be continuing to monitor how things are going. We will learn as we go forward. We may make changes as we go forward. We are starting this off, we think, on the right foot. We think we have the right protocols, but there is additional information that I'm sure we're going to continue to see and continue.
And the list of openings doesn't stop there, so let's walk you through them. May 21st, campgrounds are allowed to reopen. May 22nd, horse racing, but no spectators. May 26th, gyms and fitness centers are allowed to reopen, along with non-contact sports. Public pools also allowed to open. This includes pools regulated by local health departments only. BMVs also can open their doors. May 31st, along with daycare centers, day camps can reopen. Protocols for those will be announced tomorrow. State leaders have not set reopening dates for casinos, racinos, water, or amusement parks. Remember, as of tomorrow, though, 93% of Ohio can start reopening. They're allowed to do so. Earlier, Jay, earlier in the month, really, state leaders said that May was going to be a big transition month for us. Well, this proves to be true with all of these reopenings today.
Laura, it sure does. Thank you very much. We'll see you at 6 o'clock. Now, all of these openings are bringing mixed reactions. We spoke with Tim Hilk, the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Cleveland, about what this means for the organization's daycares as well as the organization's gyms. He says they are thrilled about the reopening and have been getting ready with preparations and staff training for weeks during the state lockdown.
Before even a staff member can hit the floor, we've got 40 or 50 hours of training that we would like them to go through on all of our new protocols. The exciting part of it for us is that we've already done many of these things. Secondarily, we're just going to get so much better at that.
All right, let's check in on our interactive poll. We've had over 1,000 people weigh in already. We asked you how you feel about Ohio's reopening timeline. Right now, about 3 in 4 of you are saying that the state is reopening too fast. All right, now let's take a look at the latest coronavirus numbers here in Ohio. Our total number of positive cases stands at just over 26,000 now. But this would be a good time to remind everyone, many of these have already recovered. The number of positive cases reported today, 636. That is a rise of about 150 cases from yesterday. Betsy.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how those numbers fluctuate over the next few weeks, too. Now, much of the state is about to get back to business, joining some already opening tomorrow, like personal services, tattoo studios, salons, and spas. This means it's back to work for stylists, barbers, and nail technicians. Of course, there will be some modifications. Brandon Simmons explains some of the changes that you're about to see.
Okay, go look in the mirror. Is your hair really long? Or take a look at those hands. Is it time for a manicure? Well, you're in luck. Tomorrow, May 15th, you'll be able to get those things taken care of after 7 weeks without it. But it'll be different. I went to Studio MZ to take a look at some of the changes that are in place there. The sign on the door tells you some of the basics. First off, no more waiting inside. You'll call when you arrive and the staff will let you know when to come in. Here, you'll have to have a mask on, and they want you to leave all unnecessary items locked in your car, and you won't be allowed to eat or drink once you're inside. Once you get through the doors, you'll see changes that include plastic shields between clients and stylists when possible, separation between people using partitions or by blocking off certain seats, and at Studio MZ, they'll be checking your temperature at the door. Susan Mate Bell says they've been preparing for this since closing a week before the governor ordered it.
We've really honestly been working on this for 8 weeks, just waiting for the governor to give us the go-ahead. Everybody's doing their part and everyone is ready to come back.
Phones at salons are already ringing off the hook, so make appointments in advance since most are operating with smaller crews. Also tomorrow, you'll be able to eat outside at restaurants that have patios, obviously weather permitting. You'll still have to maintain social distancing, and each restaurant may have special rules in place. But not all restaurants are opening their patios on day one, so make sure you call ahead if you're interested in that. I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
Yeah, the reservations are booked for a lot of places already. Well, as the school year comes to a close, districts are already looking how things are going to operate in the fall in this new COVID-19 atmosphere. The State Board of Education has come up with a framework that's only considered to be a draft right now, but as Tiffany Tarpley tells us, it's offering clues to the changes that are taking shape.
The Reset, Restart Plan guide is outlined in 12 pages. It offers a framework for daily health assessments like students and staff temperature checks before reporting to school, social distancing guidelines that include 6 feet rules, and transition schedules that minimize the number of students and staff in common spaces. Everyone on school grounds and using school transportation are required to wear face masks. Cleaning would be done on high-touch surfaces and in between class changes. While steps are outlined, there are also questions in the document about how certain aspects will work. What are the staffing considerations and more? I spoke with local leaders who believe this is a good start, but still have concerns about what the future holds.
We also are going to be challenged, quite frankly, to make sure that all of this happens within the budgetary constraints that we have, without getting some support from the federal government with dollars to go to schools. And, if the state continues to try to cut budgets, we are going to be very challenged to even get the supplies that we are going to need in order to make all this happen.
We're concerned about the ability to meet family needs, but also meet the guidelines that the state is setting forth. Social distancing on a bus, right now the expectation is that we're going to be able to have 11 students on a 72 passenger bus.
Tiffany Tarpley, 3 News.
Tiffany, thanks. Right now, it's time to get a check of the other headlines making news at this hour. And for that, we go back to our WKYC studios and Russ Mitchell. Russ, good afternoon.
Hey, Jay, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to everyone at home. Ohio's unemployment rate continues to soar, but there is some good news out there. Last week, just over 51,000 applied for unemployment, but that was a 16% decrease from the week before. Still, over 1.1 million in Ohio are out of work. We have learned about 99%, or 90% rather, of all claims have been processed. North Carolina Senator Richard Burr has stepped aside as chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee after the FBI served a search warrant on his home. Burr is being investigated for insider trading tied to the coronavirus pandemic. The Justice Department wants to know if Burr broke the law by selling stocks just before the virus caused markets to plummet. And the Greater Cleveland Food Bank's weekly downtown distribution just wrapped up this afternoon. Fresh produce as well as food staples were loaded into vehicles in the city's Muni lot. If you would like to receive food, you'll need to pre-register on the food bank's website. And that is all at 5 o'clock. Jay, I'll see you at 5:30.
All right, Russ, we'll see you in just a little bit. Now to a very interesting story. This one is a doozy. Once upon a time, being a millionaire was pretty much our standard of wealth here in America. That was replaced by being a billionaire. And now it appears that the founder and CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, is on his way to setting the new standard once thought unthinkable. Listen to these numbers. According to Comparison, Bezos will become the world's first trillionaire. They say it'll happen sometime around 2026. They came to this conclusion by looking at Bezos' net worth today, which is around $143 billion. Then they figured how much his worth has ballooned over the past 5 years. And based on that calculation, they assumed that Bezos would be sitting on $1 trillion within the next 6 years. Keep in mind, Amazon Vice President Tim Bray stepped down earlier this month because he was unhappy with the company's decision to fire executives who spoke out in favor of how the company treats its warehouse workers. I guess money can't buy everything. What a story. Straight ahead on What's New, it's hard not to laugh when Mike Polk is around. Next, he's sharing some good news he's come across lately. Can't wait for that. Stephanie, what's clicking in Cleveland today?
Jay, former NFL star LeVar Ball is walking back comments about where he wants his son to play pro basketball, seeing as how he could end up drafted by the Cavs. We'll break that down and more when we're back right after this on What's New.
Hey, how we sounding? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thanks.
Welcome back to What's New. So we hear a lot of news that doesn't always seem so good these days, but our Mike Polk, our funny man, Mike Polk, well, he found a way to find out a little bit of good in just about anything. Here he is with his take on some good news.
You'll have no problem hearing bad news these days, and that's why I'm trying this new segment that focuses on the positive, and I'm calling it Good News.
Good news.
The Cleveland Metro Park Zoo is considering reopening as a drive-through so that visitors can enjoy the animals from the comfort and safety of their cars, which is great news for people like myself who love wildlife but detest exercise. This isn't going to earn us any respect points with the animals, though. Now they're going to see us and be like, wow, now they're too lazy to even get out of their cars. New low.
Good news.
Good news. Both Olsen twins are single again, fellas. And that's not creepy to say because they're 33 now. Both of them. Mary Kate recently filed for divorce from her husband of 5 years, Olivier Sarkozy, citing irreconcilable age, height, and attractiveness differences.
Good news.
Good tech news. Harvard and MIT researchers are developing a face mask that lights up when it detects the coronavirus. That's inarguably impressive, but also kind of a weird way to alert people that you're sick.
Good news.
Good news. By 2026, Jeff Bezos could become the world's first trillionaire. That's what they think. If I'm stuck at home much longer and keep online shopping after drinking, I think we can probably get him there by 2024. I accidentally bought 2 of these Abraham Lincoln masks, if anyone's in the market for one.
Good news.
Finally, good news. A viral video shows an irate customer brawling at a Pennsylvania Red Lobster on Mother's Day. Customers were extremely upset by the long wait times and got into a good old-fashioned Red Lobster parking lot fisticuffs. This, again, seems like another thing that might not be good news, but only if you're missing the larger point. Red Lobster's open, and it's almost Shrimp Fest. Stay safe, seafood lovers. That's the good news.
Yeah, that good old-fashioned Red Lobster parking lot brawl. I want to know, how is it that you even came to order one of the Abraham Lincoln masks?
Don't even get me into it. Believe me, it was just a wild night. Those things happen. I think we've all ordered some things online. Jay, haven't you ordered something online before that you regretted later on? In a moment? No?
Probably. Yes, I'm sure that I have. And I agree with you. If we keep ordering at this rate, he'll be a trillionaire before 2026.
I know I'm doing everything I can on my end. Couple more nice, happy facts for you, Jay, to move on with your day.
Sure.
Pizza actually makes for a nutritious breakfast. Not only that, but sea otters hold hands when they sleep to keep from drifting apart. Aren't those some nice? That's good. Right? Trying to stay positive here.
And look, that's why you're here, to keep us all in a positive and laughing mood. Mike, you never fail. Thank you very much, Mike.
Cows have best friends, Jay. Cows have best friends. Bye now.
I knew that. They're also on social media. That's a little-known fact. I hate to sound greedy, but the sun was great yesterday, Betsy, and the temperatures I thought were great today. Now all we need to do is bring them all together on one day, and I will be satisfied.
We can't have nice things. You should know that by now. It just doesn't happen.
Apparently.
We get one, but not the other. And, you know, some people are happy, a lot of people are mad. And then it flips the next day. It's spring in Northeast Ohio. Just wait a few minutes.
Do we have at least one of the next 7 days where we might get both on the same day?
Yeah. And I mean, the outlook beyond that is really good, too. So things are going on the up and up. Yes, I know. My job is to make you happy, Jay. You know that. And I'm working on it very hard as I'm juggling all these other little detailed things I have to get done, too.
You're getting very good at it, though.
No, I try. I mean, you know, I'm a woman. I can multitask. Let's take a look at what's happening with the forecast. You can see all the shower and thunderstorm chances that stick with us as we go through the next 12 hours. Temperatures get back into the mid-60s and really hold. We're not expecting any major changes in the temperature. There's the radar right now, and yeah, the biggest weather is out to the west of us so far. These thunderstorms are moving east, but you can kind of see this little boundary that's set up here from about Lorain and Elyria back to the west through Berlin Heights and Sandusky. We are getting some of these showers and thunderstorms that are starting to move in, and this is going to be something that's a little bit interesting for us. So let me real quick, we'll zoom in and take a peek at these if you'll bear with me here. I'm trying to do things opposite of what I normally do, and I'm failing miserably. But here we go. You can see this pretty solid line of red, obviously some very intense rainfall. And as we go through the night tonight, not only do we have high wind gust threats, but intense rainfall coming with this. And when you start to see these lines forming like this, and they are going along the wind flow or along the path that all this rain is expected to go, that's where I would be on the lookout for rising water. We have a little bit of flooding potential here as all of this is going on, but you can also see some of the lightning strikes that are beginning to show up. So we know we've got some juice in the atmosphere. We made it to 73 today at Hopkins. So all of these thunderstorms are moving into a pretty favorable environment, and it looks like there's some upper air support to go along with that, meaning that we've got some wind that's coming in. That's why we take a look at this. This is called the velocity. So this is basically the radar looking at the speed that raindrops are moving. And you can see where we get into these brighter colors. We'll query this real quick and show you. Now keep in mind, this is up off the ground. This is not ground level, obviously, but we're talking about 50-mile-per-hour winds. There have been some wind gusts out to the west of us that have clocked in at that. So certainly the potential is there as we go through the evening. And again, this is all moving west to east. Look at the area that it's moving into. We're still sitting in the low and mid 70s in a good chunk of northeast Ohio. Ashtabula, be patient. I promise it's coming. You poor people still sitting in the 50s, but it will start to warm up here over the next few hours. These thunderstorms are going to start to push the warm air to the east, so your temperatures are coming up. There's where the thunderstorms were a few hours ago. I put out on my Instagram feed. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I do keep weather updates going, especially radar pictures throughout the day. And I tweeted out, or I insta'd out, or whatever it's called, that yeah, we are going to see these thunderstorms coming in, and there you can see them pushing here. So obviously we're going to be keeping a very close eye on all of this as it continues to move to the east. It's moving into favorable environment. We got this little baby sitting right here that sometimes can add some juju to the atmosphere, and so it does look like things are going to get interesting. But farther to the west, there's more scattered storms, so expect more of the same as we go through the day tomorrow. National Design Mar hour-by-hour forecast. There go the showers and thunderstorms this evening. That line will pass through, and then we'll kind of get into more unsettled weather tonight, but more scattered rain and storms are likely tomorrow. But look at the temperatures. We're going to find the mercury popping into the mid and upper 70s across northeast Ohio. So Universal Windows Direct Forecast has us in the 70s tomorrow with the thunderstorms. We get a break on Saturday, another boost on Sunday with more storms coming. Those may pack a punch because we're going to be back down into the low 60s on Monday with some lingering rain, and then things get better. That's for Jay. For all of you, we'll be back in just a moment.
Mic check, this is what's clicking in Cleveland. Former NFL player LeVar Ball
Well, just so everybody knows, over my shoulder, you see it here, Erie, Huron, and northern Richland County. We just had a severe thunderstorm warning issued. That's for those thunderstorms that are coming at us out of the west. So high winds, maybe a little bit of hail involved with this. So heads up for Willard, Norwalk, Milan, Sandusky, Huron, Vermilion, New London, and the northern portions of Richland County, too. Certainly something to keep an eye on. That's what I'm doing, too. Meanwhile, keeping an eye on what's been clicking in Cleveland, that's what our girl Stephanie Haney does for us. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Betsy. First up, we're talking about former NFL player LeVar Ball, who is walking back some comments that he made that were kind of anti-Cleveland as his son LaMelo Ball prepares for the NBA draft. Here's what LeVar Ball said on Fox Sports 1 in March.
The best fit in my eyes is New York, the New York Knicks, because I know Melo. Melo is a big city guy. He likes the lights. He likes that. He loves it.
So that doesn't sound too bad, but then he said that LaMelo already lived in Cleveland and the cold and the lack of bright lights wasn't his style. So this week on a Complex Sports podcast, he said he didn't mean to slight Cleveland and he really just wants his son to go where the coach is going to believe in him. Very interesting. We'll have to see what happens when the NBA draft happens, whenever that actually is. Now, in college sports news, the University of Akron is hoping students impacted by team cuts will be able to play somewhere else if they want to. The school will have to cut men's cross country and men's golf and women's tennis for next year. Not just sports, they're also cutting scholarships and salaries. They said this is what they have to do in order to save $4.4 million. And as we look tomorrow to patios reopening, not every place in town is ready for it. Here's what Sean Freeman from Chocolate Bar had to say.
We're probably only going to have 5 or 6 tables out there. And if you want to take your to-go food from here and sit at one of our patio tables, we'll probably do that.
He told me they plan to have their patio ready with more tables and barriers by Monday, but at Nighttown near University Circle, they're waiting until at least July 4th.
And we decided we need more time. We'll take a wait-and-see attitude, and we could certainly open and keep everyone even more than 6 feet apart. But I just don't think it's time yet.
So Betsy, the lesson here is definitely call ahead and check our website at wkyc.com/lovelocal. You can always get that takeout and delivery, and you can enjoy that at home on your own patio if your favorite place isn't yet ready for you.
That's true. And of course, it's all weather dependent, so you may have to do takeout anyway. All right. Thanks a lot, Stephanie. Appreciate it. Right. We'll be right back.
Now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Well, happy Friday, everybody. Thank you, or happy Friday Eve. Everybody, thanks for watching What's New. I'm Betsy Kling here with Jay Crawford. Jay, it is 5:30. That means you have some good news to tell us about.
Betsy, it absolutely does. We do it every Friday. Your daily ray of sunshine happens at 5:30. Set your watch by it. The amount of money that some restaurants are making right now is significantly lower. We know that because of the coronavirus shutdown. And I think one customer had that in mind when they left a $500 tip. This happened at Alessia's Tavern in Richfield. The person's order was $268. The owner's mom sent us this picture saying the entire staff is thankful for the generous tip. Wow.
We thought, well, maybe he left like $10, $20. And she opened the book and she starts screaming. She goes, "You're not going to believe this." I'm like, "Well, what is it?" She said she left $500 tip.
Pretty cool. Alessia's is open for carry-out, and they're opening for outdoor seating this Saturday. They're very grateful for the Big Tipper and everyone who has supported them during this difficult time. Wow, pretty cool. Betsy, where are the storms now? They're getting close, aren't they?
They are, certainly. We're going to take a close look at them right now because out in Erie, Huron, and northern Richland counties, things are rumbling right along. This storm is really starting to come together, and it's interesting because the main line of the storms, which is the most intense part of the storms, is beginning to go faster than the rain behind it, which basically means now we have this thunderstorm complex that is becoming self-propelled, and that means it's going to be speeding up. Right now, it's moving at about 60 miles per hour coming through Sandusky, the city of Sandusky, then farther south, just now getting toward Milan and Norwalk. Heads up for my friends down in Shelby. And this is going to continue to move to the east, as I mentioned, about 60 miles per hour or so. On that, this is a 30-minute storm track, which would take it into Lorain County, western Medina County, and Ashland County as well. Places like Vermilion, Brownhelm, Lorain, and Elyria, almost 6 o'clock there. Meanwhile, farther east, we have a few little pops that are popping. Nothing severe out of this, just some showers at this point, but certainly you got to be on the lookout because over the next few hours, these storms continue to spread to the east and they'll be on and off for the evening. Jay?
All right, that time of year. Betsy, thanks. Well, we heard earlier Governor Mike DeWine announced a long list of businesses that will soon be allowed to reopen. That'll bring 93% of Ohio back into business. We're asking you to weigh in on that timetable. Tell us what you think. You can do that by going to WKYC.com/vote now. Russ Mitchell joining us now from the WKYC studios. Russ, the governor and lieutenant governor revealed a lot of details about what will happen in the weeks ahead. The biggest announcement today was the one so many have been waiting for, and that's daycare centers.
Yes, Jay, quite a list today. In fact, the governor announcing that child care centers can reopen on May 31st. Day camps also open that same day. Also reopening soon, campgrounds on May 21st with specific cleaning protocols in place. State parks will be open as well. Then on Tuesday, May 26th, gyms and fitness centers and BMVs will reopen. Also that day, sports leagues with no contact or low contact sports like tennis, baseball, and softball will be allowed to reopen. Contact sports like basketball and football still undecided. Pools can reopen on May 26th, but no word on the reopening of water parks and amusement parks. Here's the governor on daycare centers.
Child care, such an essential thing, so very, very important. But there's no playbook for conducting it really during a pandemic such as we have today. So we will be continuing to monitor how things are going. We will learn as we go forward. We may make changes as we go forward.
Today's announcement is not exciting everyone. We talked with the mayor of Avon, who feels like the state is giving mixed messages.
I think my initial thing is disappointment with the governor. I understand on the daycare, everybody's got to go back to work. The disappointing part for me was on the pool with it's just like he's telling us, or even Dr. Atkins telling us that a lot we still don't know. We know children are coming down with some of the effects of it. And yet we're saying on May 25th or May 24th, is like, it's okay to open a pool. Your actions aren't matching up with your words.
Lieutenant Governor John Husted said today there is no evidence the virus can spread through pools that are treated with chemicals. And tomorrow we are interviewing Governor DeWine. We'll have that for you tomorrow night at 5, 6, 7, and 11.
Very good. Russ, we look forward to that. Thank you, and we'll see you top of the hour, 6 o'clock. Well, let's see what you're saying on our interactive poll. Most of you believe that the state is just moving too fast here. As a matter of fact, it's in the 70 percentile. 15% say it's on track. Another double digits say it's just about time. Betsy?
Well, now it's time for our top talker. NBC medical expert Dr. Joseph Fair is in the hospital with COVID-19. He said he thinks he got it on a crowded plane flying home 3 weeks ago. But it's not where he got it that has people talking. It's how he thinks he got it.
I had a mask on, I had gloves on, I did my normal wipes routine, everything like that. But, obviously you can still get it through your eyes.
Okay, so now there is the possibility, and you've heard this before, that when he touched his eyes, he may not have realized it, and that may be where the virus transmission happened, off of his hands into his eyes. Now, we also want to mention that he did test negative for coronavirus 4 times, and he says that that is not uncommon. He didn't get tested right away, so he believes his virus levels had dropped. Well, we asked Dr. Dan Kinker, a resident at Metro Health, to weigh in on how Dr. Fair got the virus. Here's what he said.
Anytime your mucous membranes, that being your mouth, your nose, your eyes, are the kind of main routes in for this virus. So, you touch a handle that has it on there, or you scratch your eye, that's a potential route for this to enter your body. So certainly that can happen.
Well, this is why doctors keep telling us not to touch our eyes, our noses, or mouths, and stand 6 feet away from others. And remember, it's not just the adults, it's the kids that we have to help do that too. The space between people helps avoid getting any germs into your eyes. Jay?
Betsy, thanks. A Hollywood divorce, pregnancy rumors with a Cleveland tie, and a former bachelorette with a pretty impressive musical debut. Stephanie covers it all in today's Pop Break.
After 5 years together, Mary-Kate Olsen and her French banker husband Olivier Sarkozy are headed for divorce. But it looks like her fashion fortune is in good hands thanks to an ironclad prenup. The 33-year-old first filed for an emergency divorce from her 50-year-old soon-to-be ex on April 17th, but the COVID-19 pandemic has held things up. The reason for the split is not known at this time, but at least Mary-Kate has her sister Ashley to lean on. Her and their 2 fashion and beauty lines with an estimated overall value of nearly $500 million. Khloe Kardashian is batting down baby rumors again today. Khloe and ex-boyfriend Cleveland Cavalier Tristan Thompson sent a cease and desist letter to a woman who claims Tristan is her baby's father, despite 2 negative paternity tests. E! News reports that the letter from their lawyer asks the woman to immediately stop defaming them with malicious and defamatory lies. I guess we know which Kardashian sister not to mess with. And former Bachelorette Caitlin Bristow can now add musical artist to her credits.
If I'm being honest, not always as tough as I seem.
After releasing her first single ever last night to rave reviews. Before If I'm Being Honest dropped, she posted how nervous she was on Instagram. That she felt insecure and didn't think she would ever release it, but she decided not to let fear hold her back.
I've already cried like 3 times.
And the most rave review came from her man, Jason Tardik, who shared his 5-star rating for his Leading Lady on Apple Music.
Those 2 are just so cute, and if I'm being honest, the song is a good one, Jay. It's the number 3 song being downloaded on iTunes right now, behind Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, 6ix9ine, and ahead of The Weeknd. Now that is how you make a debut.
Yeah, that's pretty good company, and if that's what you've got out of the gate, I think you've got a career. Stephanie, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow. Storms kicking up out there. Let's go back to Betsy for the latest. Betsy?
I'm literally updating my Instagram feed right now. Okay, here is the deal. Cuyahoga and Lorain counties have now been added into the severe thunderstorm warning. If we get rid of this bar, you can actually see the storm complex, and there's a lot of wind that's involved with this. We have the possibility for some downburst winds right now. That would be here in Lorain County, central Lorain County, out around the Oberlin area. This will also continue to move to the east up toward the North Ridgeville area. So Cuyahoga, Lorain, Erie, Huron, northern Richland counties, all now under severe thunderstorm warnings. Keep an eye on it. We'll get back to you with more information in just a moment.
Welcome back to What's New. If you're taking walks to get out of the house, and a lot of us are these days, and you need to jazz them up a little bit, public art can do the trick. This is a really cool story. In fact, local arts organization Land Studio just launched a campaign called The City Is Our Museum. It's all done to encourage just that. So we wanted to ask them some of their recommendations. Here are a few open-air museums, so to speak, that you should check out.
In Gordon Square, there's, I think there's probably about 24, 25 different artists that have created projects over there. We did 12 different murals just last summer in the Gordon Square district. The giant water tower that was painted on the West Shoreway is done by an international artist. But the majority of that artwork there is created by Cleveland artists.
Peckham also suggests a hidden gem in Slavic Village. It's called the Morgana Run Trail. The 2.5-mile trail has about a dozen art projects along the way. The neighborhood development group tries to add something new each year. And last but not least, Land Studio also recommends a crowd favorite, the Cultural Gardens. So much great art worth stopping for. Betsy pulling double duty tonight. Betsy, those storms they're just rumbling out there, and they're getting real close to where I am. I can hear them.
Well, you are far east of the main line of storms, so you've got another probably hour and a half till that gets to you.
Something's going on out there. I can't see it, but something's going on out there.
Those are the little pop-ups that I was referring to earlier. So we've got a couple different things that are happening right now. Let me just take a peek here. Let's take a look at the big picture here. This is the radar out of Cleveland, obviously, and you can see the orange counties there. That does include Cuyahoga, Lorain, Erie, Huron, and northern Richland counties for this line of storms that's moving through. Now, the radar is constantly updating, okay? Every minute or two, we're getting some updated information, but you can see this line in this solid red. This is going to come in with a burst of wind and a burst of rain. And the problem is the burst of wind that comes in is really going to be packing a punch. Let's get in closer. You can see the lightning associated with this, so it is going to be rumbling, as Jay mentioned. We have thunderstorms also ongoing here in central portions of Lorain County and into Cuyahoga County. But more specifically, it's this line that we're watching, and that's because this is known as a bow echo. This is a sign, it's a pattern that we look for in the atmosphere when we start to talk about thunderstorms that's showing that wind. So when the winds are lined up above the surface, and we have high-speed winds above the surface, and they're lined up with the direction the thunderstorms are going, a lot of times they help to add to the wind gust potential. So we know the thunderstorms themselves are moving at about 50 miles per hour, 50, 55 miles per hour, but then you put in, let me do this. Then you put in the winds coming out of the thunderstorms, and you're going to expound upon that. So it means it's going to get a lot faster. So we at least have 56 mile per hour wind gust potential that's now entering into Erie, eastern portions of Erie and Huron counties. So heads up for Wellington, over toward Amherst and Oberlin. More of the same up farther to the north, up along the I-80 corridor. So this is all moving from west to east as it does move into portions of Lorain and eventually Cuyahoga County. So we already have a severe thunderstorm warning that was pre-issued for Lorain and Cuyahoga counties. That does include Lorain and Elyria at about 5:50-ish. I'd say anywhere in that last quarter hour of this hour. 5:56 North Ridgeville, 6 o'clock at North Olmsted, and 6:08 or so in Lakewood. Now, Jay mentioned the thunderstorms out by where he is. He's out on the east side, and you can see we do have scattered storms all throughout central portions of Cuyahoga County, and then you jump over into Geauga County too. So the rumbles are going to be kind of coming ahead of the storms. I'm sure if you look west, it looks dark. But again, these are severe thunderstorm warnings for wind gust potential. You're also going to get a lot of rain out of it. If you have little ones or pets that are not too happy with thunder, now is the time to get prepared. I already had somebody post on my Instagram feedback. They said, please tell me this is going to be over by 8:30 when my kids have to go to bed. I think we're in pretty good shape for that to happen. There's the line. It's been moving at a pretty good clip, and it will continue to move across northeast Ohio. Behind it, we'll get a break. More scattered showers, some rumbles of thunder later tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to reset the stage all over again. Here's your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. That line of storms continues to move to the east. It should be clear of the I-71 corridor by about 8:30, and I think it'll be out of here completely by 10 o'clock throughout northeast Ohio. We'll continue to have scattered showers lingering. Temperatures stay very mild as we head through the night tonight. Tomorrow morning, we may briefly get into the low 60s, but by daybreak, I think we may get some peaks of sun. That's going to jack the temperatures right back into the 60s, if not the 70s, as we head through the afternoon. We'll have a brisk southerly breeze. Look at these temperatures. The more sun we get, the warmer it will be. We're kind of holding back on temperatures just a little bit, going with more cloud cover, but we get the sunshine. You could say sayonara to the low 70s. We're going to be right into the upper 70s. That adds fuel to the fire. So we're going to have to deal with more showers and thunderstorms as we head through the afternoon and evening tomorrow. So if you do have patio plans tomorrow to go out and hopefully get to eat at a restaurant once again, just be advised those plans may have to be changed because of the weather. Universal Windows Direct Forecast, there's the 70s tomorrow, 60s with dry conditions on Saturday. That looks fantastic. Upper 70s with more rain and rumbles on Sunday. We're going to cool things off on Monday, and then we get into a fantastic flow as we head through the rest of next week. Jay?
I'm really looking forward to the middle of next week. Betsy, thanks. Restaurants, as Betsy said, can see customers outside starting tomorrow, but are they ready? Our Doug Tratner talks with a local owner about their plan to protect everyone. A South Carolina restaurant is getting creative with social distancing. It will either make you laugh or it'll creep you out. Either way, I can't wait to see it. That's next.
All right, we get to give a senior shout out to Ruth Ann Hentos. She went to Norton High School and she has her sights set on becoming a certified public accountant. That is not an easy job. Now you can send us your senior shout outs on WKYC.com/senior shoutouts. Love to see all these kids. Well, tomorrow is the day that restaurants can start seating customers outside, weather permitting, but many owners have concerns and are waiting until they reopen inside before opening at all. 3 News food expert Doug Tratner talked with the staff at Tartine Bistro in Rocky River about how they prepared and their plan to reopen.
So, Dean, after 13 years in business, you guys were forced to close the doors at Tartine about 2 months ago. First of all, what's the last 2 months been like for you and the Tartine family?
Well, they've been really difficult, frankly, and I know every restaurant in Cleveland and around the world, around the states anyway, is in the same boat. Thankfully for us, we've got an amazing team here at Tartine.
Before we talk about reopening, we've been hearing a lot about restaurants who are choosing not to reopen. Can you understand the decision that some of those business owners are making?
I don't care so much about how the PPL money from the government is going to be paid and repaid. I probably shouldn't go on camera saying that, but I will, because if it turns into something I have to pay back in exchange for keeping my employees safe and comfortable and healthy, then I will. I'll make that sacrifice.
Chef, we're hearing a lot of issues about supply chain delays and difficulty in getting certain foods. Will you be opening with the same menu that you closed with?
One that promotes a little bit of a quicker dining experience. We try to limit the options just to make that decision making a little bit quicker. We're also going to be expanding our carryout services, a couple different packages that we'll be offering.
So I show up with my wife on May 21st or soon after. What is Tartine going to look like, feel like, compared to how it was operating 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
So we will be adhering to the governor's guidelines. Inside, we'll be adhering to borders between all of our tables. We have invested in some very high-end handmade plexiglass dividers that will be separating all of our tables. So there's a man-made barrier between a group of guests and maybe a guest they don't necessarily know. Outside, we will be adhering to the 6-foot guidelines. We've cut down our tables out front to about half to kind of make up for that lost seating in front of our restaurant on our beautiful patio. We've added seating out back. Inside the restaurant, we will not be setting the tables. There won't be any napkins, any silverware. You'll be seating roll to the tables. There won't be any water glasses. We'll even be asking guests if they even require water. So there's maybe possibly one less thing that could possibly be contaminated. On top of our militant sterilizing and deep cleaning for our reopening efforts, we've gotten basically every nook and cranny in the restaurant cleaned. It's spotless as the day we opened initially.
Wow, so much going on. Well, speaking of restaurants, it's almost time for our Worth the Watch, and there's a restaurant owner in South Carolina that may get an award, maybe, for most creative. Where do you see this? What they did to make sure people are sitting 6 feet apart. It's kind of weird.
It is time to wrap it up. We do that every day with our Worth the Watch. Restaurant owners nationwide are making changes to comply with social distancing guidelines. Restaurant owners in South Carolina got creative to do just that. They placed blow-up dolls at the tables. The owners of the restaurant said it's an alternative to yellow caution tape and provides a guide to safely seat customers 6 feet apart. One of the owners said customers think that it's funny and it gives them something light to think about instead of the virus. Betsy, funny or freaky?
I'm totally weirded out by that, completely honest. It's just...
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, that wouldn't be one for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd probably go to another restaurant.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. Thank you so much for watching What's New. We're back tomorrow to wrap up the week at 5 o'clock.
I think Jay is blushing. How about that to end the show, right? Well, what matters most with Russ and Laura coming up now.